Hey everyone, welcome to Reddit Readout. Today we are checking out Entitled People. Story 1. Transphobic Karen accuses me of being a naked man. I'm 32 and I identify as non-binary, but I was assigned female at birth, meaning I was born with a vagina, etc. I go to therapy at a mental health clinic near my house. The other day I was there for a therapy appointment, but I got there early and had to wait a few minutes, so I used the bathroom while I waited. This building only has men's and women's bathrooms, so when I only have those two options I use the women's bathroom. I noticed a woman coming out of the women's bathroom as I was going in, but other than that I didn't pay any attention to her. I just did my business real quick and came back out. I went back into the lobby to continue waiting for my appointment and saw the woman from the bathroom, who we'll call Karen, talking to the receptionist at the front desk. She turned around, saw me, and pointed at me yelling, "That's him. That's the naked man in the women's bathroom." The receptionist looked very confused because she knows me, and she said to Karen, "That's not a man." Karen yelled back, "I know he's a man. I don't care about pronouns." The receptionist asked me to come outside with her, where she asked me, "Were you naked in the bathroom?" "That woman says she saw a naked man in the women's bathroom and she thinks it was you." I assured her that I was fully clothed and all I did was use the stall, wash my hands, and come back out. She said, "I believe you. I don't think you would do that." We went back into the lobby and the receptionist suggested to Karen that maybe she saw someone else. Karen just started ranting, "I know I saw him and he was naked. This is what happens when you let men in women's bathrooms." I gently explained, "I'm not a man, nor do I even have a penis. Not that it would matter if I did." I didn't try to bother explaining that I am trans, but not in the way she apparently thinks I am, as I'm assuming she mistook me for a trans woman. But Karen just yelled at me, "I don't care if you cut it off. You're still a man." I tried to explain I was born with a vagina, but again, that doesn't even matter. Karen just interrupted me, rambling something about liberals and snowflakes as she stormed outside. After that my therapist brought me in for my appointment. I'm not even really offended that Karen mistook me for a trans woman because that must mean I look androgynous, but I am appalled that she would make up a story about someone being naked in the bathroom just because she's so determined to not share a bathroom with a trans woman. Let alone all her transphobia, of course, but as a trans person I'm sadly rather used to that at this point. Story 2. Karen demands seat on LRT and gets thrown. The title may seem extreme, but let me explain. I was on my city's LRT line, light rail transit, heading downtown from my station. The train was packed and there were no more seats left because of a rugby game down at my city's arena. Anyways, this lady gets on and immediately starts yelling for someone to give up their seat. Note: our trains are in the station for like max 30 seconds, so you have to be snappy getting on and off. So she tries to force her way into a spot, and as she is doing so the doors close and the train accelerates from 0 to 80 km per hour in less than 12 seconds, and this lady goes flying like 4 meters back and slides across the floor. She was being so rude that it was karma well deserved. She wasn't seriously injured, but she learned that when people aren't going to give up their seats, just grab one of the standing loops instead of trying to force people out of their seats. Story 3. Bride and groom post Venmo on IG. My husband's ex-co-workers, they're a couple, just posted about their lavish bachelor and bachelorette party plans on IG along with the bride's Venmo, asking for their followers to send money to pay for their parties tonight. They were working in television with my husband until about 4 years ago, when they broke their 3-year contracts by attempting to accept better paying jobs after 1 year. They knew this was a violation, it was very clear. They just thought they had enough of a fan base to be exempt, I guess. They were sued, ended up living off of the bride's parents for about 2 years until they could rejoin the industry. They have been engaged since before the incident, but I assume they haven't had the money to have the Instagram wedding of their dreams. So once again, they expect everyone else to pay for it. Story 4. Entitled Tourist. When you live in Canada, in a city that's close to the border and known for something that will attract tourists, you see some interesting characters. E.g., I lived in a city called Stratford in the province of Ontario, for about 3 years. It's a tourist town that depends on the Summer Theatre Festival for many summer jobs. The Stratford Festival does attract a fair number of tourists, and some surprisingly big-name actors have been in some of the plays put on at the theaters. This story was told to me a good 22 years ago. Enter stupid US tourist who makes a scene at the bank, all because he got Canadian money when he used his ATM card in one of the machines. I heard that he raged at the poor bank employee, shouting, "I put my American bank card into that machine, I should get American money." Story 5. My first experience with an entitled person. For context, I work as a to-go specialist at Chetta's Scratch Kitchen, which is a chain restaurant that's owned by the same parent company as Olive Garden and Longhorn Steakhouse. On Sundays we typically are busy, and get backed up a bit. This was Memorial Day weekend, so it was double that. I had walked out to take an order to see someone yelling at one of my teammates. He was extremely angry at his wait, and she was trying her hardest to explain what was going on. He then said this. "You know what I could go for? A slice of carrot cake." She replied with, "Okay, sir, do you want me to charge that separately or add it to your check?" "No, dumbass. You're going to comp me for that, since I had to wait such a long time." My teammate, with tears in her eyes, runs to get the manager. The manager comes out here, and she's extremely pissed. "All right, who made my girl cry?" He immediately goes into defense mode. I don't know what you mean, I didn't raise my voice or anything, I just asked nicely. I just would like you to get your manager and comp me." He waited out by his car and my manager told me this. "Just get him a damn cake. I don't wanna comp him but we're too busy for this." This is probably the most irritating part. I got the cake for him and he said, "That's very thoughtful of you, thanks a lot," in a very sarcastic tone. Asterisk, one thing I forgot to mention, my teammate here was new, being her third after finishing training. We're taught 2 things as newbies. If we're having difficulty, inform them that we're new. If anyone ever gets nasty, get a manager. We're not paid to get yelled at and treated like shit. The customer is not always right. She did tell this guy she was new and he had zero sympathy. Story 6. Karen wants what I have in my shopping cart. Today I went shopping at a Members Warehouse store. I was in line waiting to check out and this total stranger of a woman asks me about an item I have in my shopping cart, breakfast bars that my husband really likes. I tell that they are good and my husband's favorite. She says she is going to get them, so I start to tell her where they are located in the store. She says, "Well, since you know where they are, I will just take these and you can go get some more." I tell her, "No, you aren't taking those," and just as I tell her that, the person who helps expedite the checkout process comes up and starts to get all the barcodes turned upright. The Karen tells her that she is getting my breakfast bars. And I say no again. The employee directs her to where she can get her own box and Karen literally stomps her foot and says, "Why can't I have these?" The employee tells her because they're in my cart and I am checking out now. The employee did have someone come over and take Karen to where the breakfast bars were located. I did get the employee's name and I left her a positive review on the website. Story 7. Karen refuses to control her aggressive husky, calls us Karens and blames my dog for the aggression rather than trying to control her dog. Edit. Sorry for bad formatting and overall writing, I am crying and shaking because of this. Edit. Too bad spelling and grammar and formatting changes and clarifications. This just happened and I'm so pissed off. I have a service dog who I have put through extra behavioral training, and who has never attacked another dog. She has 3 scars on her nose from other aggressive dogs from incidents that happened before I owned her. She's a sweet 9-year-old Aussie Lab mix, and I love her more than anything. We go out to a bar for trivia night once a week that allows dogs, all dogs, inside, and usually so long as that dog is in the corner we have no issues. Today they were set by the only door out and my dog needed to pee several times. My grandma helped to block the dog who lunged just because we got close. I'd even put my dog on the other side of me to avoid agitating them. But I guess that makes the husky I'll call E feel bad. She kept complaining when we blocked the dog from attacking mine, saying it's fine and isn't that bad y'all, because she put zero effort into actually controlling her dog. They then complained that my dog caused it. She doesn't have aggression with other dogs. Eventually when I told them to control their dog because mine is a service dog, they, the Karens, claimed she wasn't because I don't have documentation. How would they fucking know? And you don't even need documentation, and I don't always have her vest on when I take her there since I'm with family. But how dare you be a poor pet owner then blame my service dog for your dog's poor behavior, Karen? Ugh, I'm so mad I needed to vent this somewhere. Just glad my family stood up for me. Story 8. I'm homeless and you have a spare room, give me that spare room. I know someone who is currently homeless, and while I do have sympathy for the homeless, this is a situation of his own doing. He has a long history of drugs and alcohol abuse as well as a lengthy arrest record. He has left rehab numerous times and has been in and out of jail for most of his adult life. When he is working, he refuses to do anything more than a dishwasher. He's made excuses for why places won't hire him or only keep him employed for short term. This individual posts multiple posts a day begging for someone to listen to him, cusses people out when he doesn't like what they say. He begs and pleads with people to give him gas money, cigarettes, and a place to stay. He also laughs about having an anger problem, a bad history with the police, property management, and neighbors. He has laughed about getting terroristic threats down to phone threats, blames others for the restraining orders against him, and curses out NA. My favorite part of all of this is that he knows people with a spare room and demands they rent it to him. Knowing his history, people automatically shut him down. He then gets angry and rants on FB about how people suck, are picking on him, and so on and so forth. Everyone else is the problem and people owe him everything under the Sunday. Story 9. You want personal space in a subway train during rush hour. This happened early 1989. I was pregnant and ready to pop. On my daily commute to work, the subway is always so packed that there were no seats or vertical poles to hold onto. I was also too small to hold onto those overhead ones. Anyway, no one would give up their seats as this was the period where feminism was high and no one would offer you their seat for fear of being told off. Well, what do you think happens to a pregnant woman when the train starts to accelerate? I started falling and accidentally bumped into this surly entitled man. English isn't exactly my first language, so if I remember the conversation correctly. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I haven't even finished saying I'm sorry when he interrupts me and launches into this tirade. Well, you're not excused. This point I stopped listening to him and started getting angry with the intention of just turning around and ignoring him when I heard him ask. Can't a person have any personal space? Then I lost it again. This was a packed train and here is pregnant little old me being lambasted by this rude human being. So without much thought. Mr. High and Mighty, if you want to have personal space you will either hire a cab or drive to work. Your $1.50, yet I know, it's been that long, is not enough to buy you personal space. So if you can't afford a cab or to drive your own car, you're stuck with us here mortals. Shut up. Interrupting me. You started this and now you want me to shut up? Well, guess what? We can't always get what we want, can we? So thank you for initiating this fine conversation so early in the morning. By this time the crowd around us started applauding and he was so red in the face due to anger and embarrassment that he ended up exiting the next stop. Have a beautiful rest of the day. Don't you just love it when you have the last word? Bottom line, never mess around with a hormonal pregnant woman. That's all for today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.